Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Sunday's edition of NFL Best Bets. 4 picks on the way for the 3 games, and we're going to wrap up this video with a Lions same game parlay. We're 6-0 on them this season. Let's try to go to 7-0. What's going on? My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. I am posting this before Saturday's games go off, so if you want to know my favorite picks for Saturday, that video is already live. You can go check it out. It's linked down below in the description. Not only do we have this video on Sunday, we're rooting for all these straight bets, we also have a video on later on posted on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, our Sunday's edition of NFL Parlays. You don't want to miss it. We've been cashing those left and right. We post at 4 p.m. Eastern time, linked in the description and at the end of the video. Go check that video out at 4. But we came here for some Sunday's edition of NFL picks. Let's dive right into them. If you are new, hit that subscribe button down below for us. And there is a free square right now for only new users on Sleeper. It's for Matthew Stafford to get 1 yard in his return to Detroit. Yeah, you better believe he's going to get that. So make sure to get that free square. You got to sign up using our code COS or the link in the description. And with that code, you will get the free square and a match on your first deposit up to $500. Yeah, take advantage of that. We love Sleeper. You can put some of these picks into a parlay over there and you can make some good money. So take advantage of that. That Stafford free square only for new users, and that deposit match only for new users as well, up to $500. Take advantage of that. But you guys came here for some picks, and we're just going to rattle off, go game by game, wrap up with that Lions and Rams game. We're going to start with the first game, Steelers versus Bills. Crazy weather game in this one. I really like this 2-leg same game parlay. Let's talk about it. Jalen Warren of the Pittsburgh Steelers, 25 plus rushing yards and 3 plus receptions, plus 120 on Bet365. Now, Warren's regular over in receptions is a juiced at over 2.5. It's like minus 160, minus 175. I don't mind. Obviously, I wouldn't lay a full unit on that, but I also like his rushing yards too. Now, obviously, we got a lot of snow and potential snow. We got crazy wind. We got crazy weather coming into Buffalo. And sure, you can look at that and be like, oh, I'm scared away from it. But I think they're going to lean on Warren, and for a couple different reasons why. Now, this identical parlay, minus 103 on FanDuel, and it's on minus 105 on DraftKings. Now, obviously, I could go in depth about the weather, but I'm not a weatherman. I'm not a meteorologist. So I think at the end of the day, I think if they are going to lean on the run, which probably happens in a windy game, probably Warren's going to be their guy. I mean, he has 25 plus rushing yards in 13 of his last 15. Now, obviously, Najee Harris is going to get the bulk of the carries. I'm not going to say Warren's going to outsnap him or get more carries than him. However, the last few games, people have seen a lot of Najee Harris. Well, obviously, because they've been in very good, positive game script where they've been like, all right, we just need a bruiser, milk the clock, win the game. That's where Najee comes in. However, in a game where they are 9.5, 10-point underdogs, if they are trailing, very good chance that Warren's going to be out there a lot of snaps, and he's still playing a good amount of snaps. I mean, like I said, 25 rush yards in 13 of the last 15 games, and if they are trailing, which the books obviously clearly expect them to be trailing, they're going to have him out there, and it's not like they're going to be throwing it deep. If they are going to be throwing it, it's probably going to be a lot of short passes. Mason Rudolph, especially in windy conditions, not going to be trying to stretch the ball deep down the field, so George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, probably going to have big games, but we've seen a guy that Rudolph has a good connection with. It's Warren out of the backfield. I mean, these guys have had a very good connection out of the backfield. I mean, you look at just the last few games, Warren, last 5 games, 4, 5, 5, 4, and 5 receptions. I even considered his regular over 3.5 receptions, which is plus money. But you look at Warren, 61 receptions this year, 3 plus receptions in 14 of 17. I know it's a playoff game and anything can happen, but I mean, if Najee Harris is out there, I'm pretty sure Buffalo's just going to load the box, just banking on them running it. I think with Warren in there, you have a little bit of a different element here. Also think about Warren, a guy that averaged over 5 yards per carry. Obviously coming off a couple down weeks, but this guy that I still expect to see 8 to 10 rushing attempts, and I think he can have some success. We're not asking for him to run for 100 yards here today. I did like his over in rushing plus receiving yards because I think running backs against the Bills, very good matchup for receiving yards for running backs. So I think at the end of the day, I really do like Jalen Warren here. You think about Najee Harris, what is he great at? North and south, just going up and down the middle. However, in a game with some snow expected, not great weather, maybe it's not the best field conditions, and maybe it's better to run on the outside where the linebackers are going to have to make some quick cuts and get outside, whereas Jalen Warren, if he can get his footing, he can probably hit some holes a little bit faster than some linebackers are expecting him to. So I like Warren. I like him for 25 plus rushing yards, and I like his 3 plus receptions, plus 120 on Bet365 for this 2-leg same game parlay. I really like it. I liked his over in rush yards. I liked his over in receiving yards. I liked the over in rushing plus receiving. This just feels a little bit easier to get that done. Now, my second pick, we're going to go to the second game. I'm going to go to that Green Bay Packers on the road taking on the Cowboys. I have my favorite pick here, and it's going to be Jordan Love of the Packers over 242.5 passing yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. Personally, I'd play this up to another 10 yards, 252.5. No weather concerns here. We're in Dallas, in a dome. It does not matter. Now, the Packers are going to find themselves as underdogs here. 7.5 point underdogs. Obviously, if they they are trailing in this game, probably a good chance they're going to be throwing the ball. But with an over-under at 50.5 and a Packers defense that honestly I don't trust at all, I think they're going to have to throw the ball to keep up with the Cowboys. Cowboys, obviously one of the best home teams in the NFL. Now, Love this season, obviously a revelation. He's been really good, much better than I think Packers fans could have expected, really anyone could have expected. But Love is over this line in 10 of 17 games, including 7 of his last 9, been really ending the season strong. And even in the last 3 games, when they've had very positive, game script where it's like, all right, we're up by a touchdown or 2, we're going to run the football. Still over in 2 of the last 3, and they're getting their weapons back, and they got a lot of wide receivers out there, and a lot of guys that they can rotate in and out, and a lot of guys that can beat man coverage. The Cowboys are a team that plays the 4th most man coverage in the NFL. We'll see if Christian Watson plays, but you look at his other lines, the books obviously expect him to be throwing the ball. His completions line is set to 23.5. His attempts line set to 35.5. Some of the highest lines I've seen for Jordan Love this season. And we've looked at so far this season when he has 20 or more completions, which he's done in 13 games. He's over this line in 9 of 13. Look, like I said, 20 completions would be honestly on the low end. That's probably pretty juiced because his line is 23.5. They're pretty sharp on these lines. And when you look at the same thing for pass attempts, when he's throwing the ball 30 or more times, done that in 13 games, over this line in 9 of 13. So end of the day, the books really expect Jordan Love to be throwing it a ton. I'd expect his passing yards to be a little bit higher. Now, obviously, the Cowboys have had, if you look at their metrics, they haven't allowed a ton of passing attempts, completions, yards to QBs. However, they've also faced a gauntlet of terrible QBs. I mean, we talk about the bad QBs they faced. Zach Wilson, yeah, I'm a Jets fan. He stinks. Sam Howell, they got to face him twice. Bryce Young, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito. The list goes on. Not a lot of great QBs they have faced this season. Well, I'm not saying Jordan Love is better than all those guys, but I still think Jordan Love is really good, and I think this is a guy that's going to have to throw the ball against Dallas. When we've seen 5 QBs have attempted 30 or more passes versus Dallas, not the highest hit rate, but those guys ended with 227, 271, 293, 300, and 334 yards. So, look, I know Aaron Jones is back, and he's been playing really well the last few weeks. However, Dallas has been pretty good at stopping the run, and I think at the end of the day, if the Packers do trail in this game, they're going to have to throw it. And I think if they're going to put some pressure on Dallas, it's probably going to be having to do it against the secondary. I think they got a ton of different options out there to go out there and catch the ball. Like I said, their wide receivers getting healthier and healthier. I think they got a lot of options out there today. Aaron Jones could still have a good game, but 242.5 passing yards I think is a little bit too low for Jordan Love. So give me his over. I think this is a really good spot to back him. Obviously, we'd love if they were trailing, so they're throwing it more, but I think even if they are in a really tight game, he could still get over 250 passing yards pretty easily. Now, my third pick is going to go to the final game. Rams going on the road to take on the Lions. This is a massive game. I mean, it's going to be probably my favorite game to watch this weekend. A lot of people have high hopes for this game, and hopefully it lives up to the expectations as Stafford, like I said, is back in Detroit. Now let's talk about the guy that I'm going to take before we talk about the Lions same game parlay. Go to Cooper Kupp. I like his over 68.5 receiving yards minus 110 on Bet365. End of the day, wide receiver ones destroy the Lions. That's just what it is, and I like Puka Nacua today. We'll talk about him in the same game parlay. Hint, hint, he's in there, but I still think there's plenty of volume to go around for both guys. Like, Detroit just has not been really good stopping the pass. I mean, they are what they're really good at, stopping the run. They've allowed the fewest rushing yards to running backs in the NFL. They likely are going to stuff the run against Kyren Williams and force the Lions or the Rams to beat them through the air. Problem is the secondary for the Lions is not that great, and I don't think they can double Cooper Kupp because Puka Nacua has been so good on the other side. And I think Kupp, coming off a week where he didn't have to play, had 2 weeks to get fully healthy if he was dealing with a little bit of lingering issues on the side, I still think he's going to come out here and ball out. Kupp obviously has done his thing in the playoffs before. He's been here before. He's done his thing. And you saw him return earlier this season with it back from injury, 118 yards. And you look at his receptions line, set to 5.5, minus 150 on the over. Now, I can't guarantee he gets 6 receptions, but the book's pretty confident he does. And look, he's minus 260 to get 5 or more receptions. And we've seen in the last 9 weeks, a very large sample size, 11 wide receivers have 5 or more receptions versus Detroit. Of the 11, all 11 of them had 60 or more receiving yards. 9 of the 11 cleared this over. 1 ended with 68 on the hook. Look, last few weeks, Justin Jefferson, 141, 192 yards versus the Lions. CeeDee Lamb sandwiched in between there. He had 227. Sure, Puka Nacua could have a massive day, but Cooper Kupp is the number 1 guy for Matthew Stafford. And when push comes to shove, if he's under pressure, he's looking for Cooper Kupp. And I just don't think the Lions have someone that can match up with him. Nacua is going to do his thing, but Cooper Kupp is just an absolute beast. And while he has been very up and down this season, this is the perfect spot for him to get back on track. I really think this is just a great spot to back Cooper Kupp. I think they just cannot defend him. I just don't think you can't price the line high enough. I think this line is honestly pretty low given, what he's done the past few weeks. They're like, all right, we're going to set it a little bit low, but I think Cooper Kupp's in for a massive day. They're probably going to have to throw it. Also, it wouldn't be surprised if the Lions are leading in this game, forcing Stafford and the Rams to play from behind. Give me Kupp's over in receiving yards at 68.5. Now, finally, what you guys have all been waiting for. The Rams and Lions, same game parlay. As I said at the top of the video, 6-0 on these this season. Normally it's mostly Lions. We sometimes throw in a leg from the other team, where mostly all of them have been plus money. We're diving into this one. 4 legs. Let's talk about it. Now, it's going to be a lot of legs, a lot of usual suspects in here. Let's talk about these 4 legs for plus 120 on FanDuel. If you're on a different book, maybe they don't give you great odds for it. I don't mind some alt receptions for maybe Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. You can certainly do that, or Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, speaking of St. Brown, he's the first leg. 50 plus receiving yards from him. Certainly, that is something he's certainly capable of doing. Then you got Jahmyr Gibbs for 25 rush yards, David Montgomery for 25 rush yards, and Puka Nacua for 50 plus receiving yards. Now, we're going to actually start my analysis with Puka. Puka, 50 plus receiving yards in 5 straight games prior to last week, when they obviously were just trying to get him to set the NFL record, rookie record for receptions and receiving yards for a rookie. Obviously, he didn't hit it. But you look at his receptions line, set to 5.5, same like Kupp, juiced on the over. And even if Cooper Kupp is getting 70 plus receiving yards, which we certainly hope, there's still a lot of volume out there for Puka Nacua. I mean, Stafford's passing yards line set in the 270s. Plenty of volume out there. Puka, I just don't think they can guard him. He has high enough usage. Even if he doesn't have, hit his regular over like 76.5, pretty confident he can get us 50. Now you look at on the other side, that's just the Lions, the Rams leg. We need a couple lines to come through. St. Brown has always been in these same game parlays for 50 plus receiving yards. Why? Something he's done in 14 of 16 games. Rams secondary hasn't been great. We know that. And at home, Amon-Ra has been an absolute beast. 77 yards in all 7 home games, 100 plus in 5 of 7. He's the number 1 guy. Sam Laporta looks like he's going to play, but how healthy will he be? I don't really know. I don't really care. It doesn't matter if Sam Laporta is out there. Amon-Ra is an absolute beast at home. I'm going to roll with him to get us 50 receiving yards. He could realistically do that by halftime. Now, the last 2 legs are going to be the Lions running backs to each get 25 rush yards. It is not the best matchup against Aaron Donald up the middle and against the Rams, but Dan Campbell is not afraid of anyone. He is not afraid to go away from their identity, which is running the football. That is how the Lions are here. That's how they won the division. That's how they are hosting a playoff game. It is because they are not afraid to run the football, even if it's in a tough matchup. They're still going to run it. And you look at Gibbs, 25 rush yards in 13 straight. Montgomery, 25 rush yards in 13 of 14 this season. Look, I'm confident even in a negative game script, these 2 guys are capable of getting 25. And then we're just looking at Puka and Amon-Ra to get 50. I really like this one. We're moving to 7-0 on Lions same game parlays. And hopefully the Lions can move on to next week so we can have another one and try to go to 8-0. That's just how confident I'm feeling in that one. But those are my 4 favorite picks of the day. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. That Lions same game parlay is smacking. The other 3 straight bets are smacking. Let's have a wonderful day. Let me know your favorite picks down below. There is an NFL parlays video for Sunday. Check it out. It is live at 4 p.m. Eastern time later on Saturday. So maybe by the time you're watching this, it is already live. Go check out that video. You don't want to miss it. Also, my Saturday's edition of Best Bets for the NFL is already live too. I'll put that on the screen too to get those bets locked in before Saturday's plays or games go off. You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back for Monday Night Football. We'll have a separate video for that, Bucks and Eagles. I'll talk about that later on Sunday. Just have a great day. See you in the next one. Peace.